Hey guys. Welcome to my channel. Today, I will recap a movie called Dr. Sleep. Sit back, relax and enjoy the movie. In Florida, 1980, Violet goes out to pick some flowers and she sees Rose with some nice flowers. Rose performs magic with her magic hat, but Violet sees some scary people approaching. She wants to leave, but Rose pulls her back and the scary people surround her. Her mother goes to look for her but doesn't find her. Later on, Danny rides his bicycle in the Overlook Hotel, but stops at room No. 237. The door opens slowly and a ghost appears, scaring Danny. He wakes up scared and goes to the bathroom. He opens the door and sees a ghost walking out of the bathtub. He rushes out and his mother, Wendy, arrives. Wendy begs him to talk to her as he hasn't spoken to her since they left the hotel. Wendy goes to the bathroom and notices footsteps on the mat. Danny talks to Dick, a ghost, and Danny reveals that his father tried to kill him once and he is scared the ghosts will not stop until they get him. Dick tells him that the darkest beings will come for his light, but he has to use that against them. Dick tells him about how his mean grandfather kept coming back to haunt, but his grandma helped him by giving him a box. He asks Dan to learn everything about the box because he has to build one in his mind and be ready for the ghosts when they come back. At night, Dan goes to the bathroom and he locks the ghost in the bathroom in the box after imagining the box in his head. In New Jersey, in 2011, Dan is now an alcoholic, who gets into fights and sleeps around with women. He tries to lock the memory of the night before inside the box, but Dick tells him that he can only lock the ghosts from Overlook. Elsewhere in Anniston, Abra plays the piano, and her parents put her to bed as it's her birthday tomorrow. At midnight, the piano plays on its own, scaring Abra's parents. At the cinema, a young woman, Andy, has the ability to control humans and Rose takes a liking to her. Somewhere else, a magician performs on Abra's birthday and Abra states that she can also do magic. After the party, Abra levitates all the spoons using magic, which Dan and Rose sense immediately. Afterward, Rose offers Andy immortality if she joins them. She also tells Andy that they are the true knot that can never be untied. In the morning, Dan travels to Fraser to heal his soul. He meets Billy, who helps him rent an apartment, and they become friends. Later that night, Rose initiates Andy into the community of the True Knot. The True Knot consumes the steam released from killing people who have the shine to expand their lifespan. Rose uses the steam of Violet to initiate Andy. Dan has a nightmare about Tommy and his mother. He decides to meet Billy for help and Billy invites him to an AA meeting. Billy introduces him to Dr. John. While he leaves, Dan tells Dr. John where he left his watch, which surprises him and he questions Dan, but Dan refuses to divulge his secrets. The next morning, Andy wakes up, she sees Rose and asks if she is still human, but Rose tells her it doesn't matter. While Dan cleans the floor, Azzy, a cat, enters a room and Dan follows it. He meets a sick man, Charlie, who calls him Dr. Sleep as Dan believes death is just like sleeping. Charlie believes he will die as the cat is a symbol of death. Dick talks through Dan, calming Charlie down, and he lets out steam. Dan returns to his room and sees hello on the wall, to which he replies hi as Abra telepathically communicates with Dan. 8 years later, Dan is rehabilitated and he talks about how his dad affected his life, but he is ready to move on. Abra is now all grown up and continues to communicate with Dan. The True Knot are hungry as the steam is getting rare to find, but Crow is close to a kill. Rose opens a canister to tide everyone as they are starving. In Iowa, the True Knot watches a boy, Bradley, while he plays baseball. On his way home, Andy controls Bradley and he enters their van. Late at night, Rose stabs him, inhales his steam, and shares it with others. Bradley's scream wakes Abra and she sees him. She begins to shout, telling Rose to stop, but she doesn't listen. Her screams send a message to Dan stating murder, causing Dan to ask for the location. The True Knot eventually kills him and Abra cries. Rose sensed Abra while they kill the boy, and tells Crow that Abra's steam is huge as she has raw power. Rose says that she will get Abra's location when she comes back. The following morning, Dan asks Abra if she's okay and leaves the house. The next day, Abra tells her mother, Lucy, about Dan and she asks if she is okay, considering what happened last night. After finding out that Bradley is missing, Abra concentrates on some pictures and she telepathically finds the location of the True Knot. Abra then goes to the location and sees Rose. Rose senses her presence and tries to get in her head, but Abra locks her out of her head, causing Rose to bleed. Simultaneously, Dan also had an encounter during an AA meeting and kept saying, "Help me, Tony." Not long after, Rose tells Crow that Abra found her again and they have to look for her. Crow thinks that they should turn her, but Rose believes they can keep her and get steam from her continuously. Abra tracks Dan to Frasier and uses her inner voice to talk to him. Dan asks her if her parents know about her shine, but she says that they are scared of it. Dan tells her that he didn't understand the shining when he was a kid and called it Tony. Abra tells him about Bradley and states she wants to find them and stop them. She says that she can trace the true knot if she sees Crow's hand gloves, but Dan tells her to go home and think about her school. He refuses to help her and tells her not to shine again for her safety. At home, Dan senses a ghost in his house but finds out that it's Dick before he could lock him. Dick tells him that the true knots have seen Abra and they might kill her or use her. Dick tells him to help her because she found him and begs him to do what Abra says and adds that he won't come again. Crow shows Rose news of the earthquake that happened in New Hampshire and believes Abra caused it. Crow tells Rose to be careful as Abra is very powerful. Not long after, Rose searches for Abra. She finds Abra's home and teleports to her mind. Abra senses Rose as she was expecting her, and breaks her fingers. Terrified, Rose manages to escape and tells Crow that Abra was in her head, stealing information. Abra then talks to Dan and tells him that she manages to get in Rose's head and hurt her. Dan talks to her while Grandpa Flick recycles. Andy is surprised as she thought they will live forever, but Grandpa Flick dies and gives the rest steam to consume. Dan asks Billy for help and they both drive to find Bradley. Abra talks to him while they travel. She enters his mind, finds the boxes, and asks about them. The true knots set out to find Abra and Crow tells Rose to stay as Abra can sense her. Billy tells Dan that if he is wrong, he will know that Dan is crazy and they both dig the ground. After digging for some time, they uncover Bradley's dead body and recover the gloves. While driving back home, Dan tells Abra that they need to inform her father, David. Abra shows David how the true knot killed Bradley. David agrees to help and Abra says that they are coming for her. She is able to find the true knot after touching the glove and Dan tells her to lure them into the woods. Elsewhere, Rose locates Abra and her colleagues. She tries to warn them but it is too late. Dan and Billy shoot them and successfully kill all of them except Crow and Andy. Andy tries to control Dan, but Abra snaps him out of it. She is about to shoot him, but Billy saves Dan and shoots her. However, she tells Billy to shoot himself and he does. Crow drugs and captures Abra, he also kills David, and she tries to connect with Dan but is unable to. Elsewhere, Dan concentrates and finally hears Abra. He teleports to the car and asks her to trust him. Dan takes over her body and talks through her. He controls the car, causes an accident, and kills Crow. Enraged, Rose inhales all the steam in the canisters, while Dan meets Abra. Dan tells her that they are going to Colorado because the Overlook is the only place to kill Rose as it will be more dangerous for her than for them. Her mother calls Abra, but she picks up the call and throws her phone out the window. Dan tells Abra to stay in the car and signal to him when Rose arrives. Dan leaves to awaken the broiler. He searches the hotel and gets to a bar. His father, Jack, is the bartender and Dan tells him everything he has always wanted to say. The man insists that he isn't Jack and offers him a drink, saying it's his medicine. Rose arrives and Abra calls Dan. He takes her into the hotel, knowing Rose will find them. Rose heads in and finds Abra. Abra and Rose teleport into a maze and they battle. Rose finally overpowers Abra, but she figures that Abra is stalling and breaks out of the trance. A fight begins between Dan and Rose. She overpowers him and begins to take his steam. While she hurts him, Dan unlocks the boxes and the ghosts feed on Rose till she dies. However, the ghosts take over Dan's mind but Abra believes that Dan is still there. Abra talks to Dan's spirit and calms him down. Dan tells her to run as he needs to close the boiler room door. The hotel burns down, but Abra and Dan escape. Afterward, Abra talks to Dan's spirit, assuring him that she is okay. Dan thinks there are more people like Rose and tells Abra to shine on. Her mother hears voices and asks who she is talking to. She lies at first but later tells her that it was Dan and David is also okay. She enters the bathroom and seals a ghost. Thanks for watching the recap. See you next time.